Hello yogis, welcome back to my channel. My name is Krista. If this is your first time here, welcome. For today's class, we are going to be doing yoga for the shoulders. So we're going to be moving into the first half into some more active stretching for the shoulders, some active mobility work, and then for the last half, we're going to be doing a little bit more passive stretching. So when we only do passive stretching, we only gain a passive range. So you might become more flexible, but you don't actually have control over a certain amount of range. And when you don't have control in your flexibility, especially in those really end ranges, then that's where injury tends to happen. So we also want to actively stretch so that we gain more mobility, we gain flexibility, but we're able to control all of those ranges. Both are equally good and useful for relieving tension in our shoulders, as well as relieving any tightness that we feel in our shoulders. So for today's class, you will need 2 blocks. And for the blocks, you can also use books, just making sure they're at equal height. Or for a specific stretch that we will be doing with the blocks, a couch works good, or a countertop, anything like that. So let's get started today in a child's pose. So bring the big toes to touch. Knees at a comfortably distance apart, and then just start to walk your hands towards the top of your mat. Sink your chest and your forehead down to the floor. And just spend the next few moments just settling into your body and into your breath. With every inhale, I want you to imagine as if you're breathing in the breath in through the shoulders, through the upper traps, the neck area. With every inhale, feel the breath travel in and around the shoulder blades. With every exhale, any tension or tightness that you feel in this area, allow it to release. Just bringing conscious awareness into the area that we are going to work today. And last few breaths here. Finishing your last inhale and exhale. And slowly start to bring yourself up to a tabletop position. So shoulders are stacked over the wrists, and then the hips are directly over the knees. Just moving in through some cat-cow here. I'm just warming up through the spine. On your inhale breath, just tilt the tailbone up, allow the belly to drop, and then pull your chest forward and through. Gaze looks up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, round the spine, hugging in the belly. Tuck your chin in towards your chest. Inhale for your cow pose, tailbone, chest, head lift. And then exhale, round the spine, really puff up that upper back. Keep moving with your breath. Last one. And come back to a neutral table. And we're going to start with some thoracic rotation. And that's rotation through our upper spine area, just to get that moving a little bit. So I want you to bring your right hand to the back of your head. Maybe it touches just with the fingertips. And then think of pulling that elbow back in space. So you're squeezing that shoulder blade against the spine. And then from here, think of rotating that elbow to point up towards the sky. And then exhale, sink the chest, and try and reach the elbow for the opposite wrist. Inhale, let's lift. Pin the shoulder blade back. And then exhale. Let's dip it down. Beautiful. Keep moving here. And we'll just do one more, just like that. Awesome. Drop that right hand down towards the floor, and then we'll switch sides. This time, the left hand will come behind your head or just to the side, touching with the fingertips. Pull that shoulder blade back, and then on your inhale, see if you can rotate that elbow to point up towards the ceiling. And exhale, touch your elbow to opposite wrist. Inhale, let's lift up. Maybe the side feels a little bit different. Maybe you don't get as much rotation, or maybe you get a little bit more. Just two more. Last one here. Awesome. Drop that left hand down towards your mat. And let's come to a kneeling position. So if this is uncomfortable for you, just use a block or something that you can sit on. Just slide it underneath your bum, or you can sit cross-legged. You can come to a higher kneeling position if that's more comfortable. So let's start with the right arm, and I'm just gonna face the camera a little bit more here. So generally, we're just gonna take some big arm circles, and we're gonna start with the right arm, but I'm gonna bring my left hand to my right ribs. This way I can tell if my ribs start to flare, or if my spine starts to extend or flex. I wanna keep everything in my body nice and tight, and I only want the movement to happen from my shoulder capsule. So starting with the right arm in front, keep it nice and straight. Thumb pointing up, palm facing in. And then start to track that arm overhead. Yeah, go as far as you can go. Keep reaching back. Notice the tendency here to want to just flare the ribs. Keep the core nice and tight. Breathe, and then start to internally rotate. So I'm starting to bring my thumb forward and my palms facing out now. And then I'm gonna keep reaching back, 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 back as I continue to spiral that arm inward. Beautiful. And then as I end, the top of my hand will come right beside my hip. And we're gonna move back. So keeping my hand exactly where it is, so thumb is pointed back, palm is facing out. So I'm gonna start to extend my arm back behind me. This time I'm gonna externally rotate, so my palm will start to face forward. And then I'm gonna keep spiraling that arm up towards the ear. Now my thumb's pointing back, palm facing in, and then I'm gonna drop the arm back down in front. So we're gonna do that 2 more times. And just keep breathing. Keeping nice tension in the body. Moving nice and slow. Yeah, and try and make sure there's minimal twisting through the spine. Beautiful. Last one to come back. Awesome. And just give the shoulder a little shake if you need to. We're going to switch sides. So this time we're going to do the left arm. Now starting with the left arm, keep the arm nice and straight, thumb pointing up, palm facing in. With a nice straight arm, start to reach the arm up overhead so the bicep comes in line with the ear. And then start to internally rotate. So my palm faces out, my thumb points forward. And then keep rolling that shoulder. Keep reaching back. Yeah, keep rolling that shoulder inward until the top of the palm comes beside the hip. And then we'll come all the way back. So reach back. Move nice and slow. Using that right hand just to make sure your ribs aren't flaring and your spine is not extending. Beautiful. Let's do 2 more. Beautiful. Last one. Keep breathing. Last one to come back. Awesome. So that was our active stretching, and now we're going to go into some passive stretching for the shoulders. So we're going to start with our puppy pose. So bringing your hips directly over the knees, and then start to walk the hands further away from the body towards the top of the mat, and then start to sink your chest down towards the floor. Your forehead can touch down towards your mat. Maybe your chest can reach down onto the mat. If you're here and this is really uncomfortable, maybe placing a block underneath your chest. Keep the arms nice and active. And playing with maybe opening up the arms a little bit more or keeping them closer together. It's going to be dependent on your body and how it feels in your body. You might start to feel a nice stretch in through the armpit, traveling across the chest and into the abdomen. Stay here for 1 more breath. And then to come out of this pose, begin to push into your hands around the spine, and then walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. We're going to come down onto our belly now. So just lowering all the way down onto the belly. Begin to push your right hand into the mat. Send your left arm across the chest, palm faces up, and then start to sink your chest down onto that arm. So we're finding a nice closing angle stretch here. Forehead can rest onto the mat or reach for one of your blocks just to place the forehead down. That right hand can stay where it's comfortable. If you want to find a deeper stretch, if you think you can handle a little bit more, then start to crawl your right fingertips forward. And then think of rolling your right armpit down towards the left arm. Keep breathing. Last breath here. If you've crawled that right arm out, just bring it back underneath, close to the body, and just very gently, a slight push just to free that left arm. This time taking it out to the side into a straight line from the shoulder, so coming into almost like a T position. And then I'm going to bring my left ear down towards the mat, bend my right knee, and start to roll onto that left side. And then my right toes can just step behind that straight leg. If that's too much, then bring them in front. So we're finding a nice stretch across that left shoulder, maybe into the bicep. and in across the chest. Keep the breath nice and steady. Last breath here. Slowly start to roll back onto the belly. And we're going to do that on the other side. This time I'm going to press into my left hand. I'm going to slide my right arm across the chest. Keep it straight as you lower down your chest and your shoulder onto the floor. And I'm just going to bring the block to put underneath my forehead. And with that left arm, you can keep it just where it is. Or maybe start to walk the fingertips forward and think of rolling that left armpit down towards the right arm. Really feeling that sensation in through the tricep, into the top of the shoulder. Last breath here. Slowly bring that left hand closer towards the body, just enough that you can give yourself a little push and slide that arm out from underneath you. This time my right arm is going to extend in line with the shoulder. And then I'm going to bring my right ear down towards the mat. Start to bend that left knee and then roll over to the right side, planting the left toes behind your straightened leg or in front, depending on your spinal mobility and whatever feels best in your body. And just try and let the arm relax here. Last 2 breaths here. And slowly start to roll back onto the belly. Bring both hands underneath the chest. And then push yourself back up to a tabletop. So for this next one, you're going to use your blocks, and this is the one that you can even do off of a countertop or off of your couch, but I'll show you with the blocks. So you're going to bring them on their lowest level to start, and then we'll see if you need a little bit more. So from here, I'm going to sit my bum down towards my heel, so coming into a child's pose. I'm going to bring my knees a little bit wider than my hips and then start to sink my chest down, and I want to bring my elbows onto the blocks. Just enough that it gets the elbow, but a little bit of the tricep as well. And then I'm going to bring my hands together and then start to sink my head and my chest between my shoulders. If this is not enough for you, maybe you need a little bit more height, then you can switch the blocks to be a little bit higher. And this is where a countertop or something is a little bit nicer because you have a little bit more room to play with. And trying not to keep the elbows too wide. You really want them about the same distance as your shoulders. With every exhale, feel your chest sink a little bit deeper. Maybe playing with bringing the thumbs towards the back of the neck and then extending the arms in front. And just notice how
And if that changes the stretch. Keep breathing. Last few breaths here. And just slowly come up. Just very gently lift your head. Bring your hands back onto the floor and walk yourself up to just a seat or a kneeling position. And just close down the eyes. Bring your hands on top of the thighs. And start to roll your shoulders up towards the ears, back and down. We'll do that 2 more times. Up towards the ears, squeeze the shoulder blades, back and down. Last one. Beautiful. And just feel your body in this space right now and notice if there's any changes in the shoulders, across the chest, in through the upper back area. If there's any sense of release of tension. And take a nice long deep breath in through your nose. Fill up the entirety of your lungs. And then exhale, open mouth, let it all go. Thank you everyone for joining me today for some yoga stretches for your shoulders. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope your shoulders feel really good right now. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know how you liked these stretches. And if you do like them, then I can do more shorter videos on different parts of the body. Thank you and namaste.